In today's video, I'll continue with the story of State Qin that unified China for the first time. I traveled to an ancient pass which was the eastern border of State Qin. The pass is located in present-day Lingbao, Henan province. Now it's a park.
Hello, I'm Yan Yan. Today I'm at Hangu Pass. This is the gate to Hangu Pass, but of course not the original one. Hangu Pass is the earliest pass in Chinese history. It could date back to 3,000 years ago. Many famous battles happened here. And today I'll tell you the story.
Hangu Pass lies on the southern bank of the Yellow River, just east of its eastward bend out of the Ordos Loop. It is one of the earliest passes with military functions in Chinese history. Han means the box, Gu means valley, and Hangu means taking the valley as a small box and guarding the key place. The pass witnessed numerous battles, especially in early ancient times when it was the choke point shielding the Guanzhong plain. The plain is a basin surrounded by mountains. There are 4 narrow passes around the plain that were the only ways to get into the plain in ancient times. The Yellow River forms a natural barrier preventing attacks from the east. The location made the Guanzhong plain easy to be defended and hard to be attacked. Therefore, Xi'an, which is located in this plain, was chosen as the capital for 6 major dynasties in early Chinese history. This is the footage I took on a train when it traveled through the Guanzhong plain. It was during late spring and early summer. Look at the crops in the field. The land is good for agriculture and therefore could sustain a large population, which decided the power of a country in ancient times. In my earlier video, I took you to Shanghai Pass, where the Great Wall of China meets the sea. If you remember, Shanghai Pass was the choke point guarding Beijing from invasion from northeast China. But Beijing didn't become the capital of the Han Chinese ruled dynasty until the 14th century. Xi'an, located in the Guanzhong plain, was the longtime capital of China for most of time before 9th century. Hangu Pass was the choke point guarding Xi'an. Therefore, Hangu Pass was way more important than Shanghai Pass in early Chinese history.
The most famous thing about Hangu Pass was an agreement. In late Qin dynasty, when there were many uprisings in China, there was an agreement among generals. Whoever breaks into the Hangu Pass becomes the new king.
Liu Bang, who was the first to break into the Hangu Pass, later on established the Han Dynasty, which was the origin of the name of Han Chinese that makes the majority of Chinese people. The agreement reflected the geographical importance of Hangu Pass. Let me first explain why Hangu Pass was the only way to get into the Guanzhong plain during the 3rd to 4th century BC. This map gives us a good angle to understand what the Hangu Pass is. Let's go back to the Warring State period 2,300 years ago. Imagine I am leading an army to the Guanzhong plain. General Yan Yan is standing here outside the Hangu Pass facing the Guanzhong plain. A plateau is in front of me, preventing me from advancing. The Yellow River flows along the northern and the northwestern edge of the plateau. The cliffs of the plateau are high and steep. It's not possible to go through the Yellow River because it would be going upstream. The Yellow River is not a quiet river. It's a bad idea for an army to travel upstream in the Yellow River in ancient times. Why don't I climb over the plateau? Unlike today, the plateau was a dense forest 2,000 years ago. An ancient book described this area as full of pine and cypress trees. The forest was too dense for pedestrians to pass, let alone an army. The Hangu Pass is the only way to go. The pass is actually a crack in the plateau. It started from here where the gate is. Once the troop goes through this pass, it could advance further into the Guanzhong Plain. In history, in front of Hangu Pass, there was Hongnong River which formed the natural moat of Hangu Pass. But today the Hongnong River doesn't have much water anymore. It still can be spotted in the map though. In the park, there is a path that was supposed to be the ancient path, but I doubt its authenticity. It helps imagine what the ancient path looks like though. The history book described the path as extremely narrow. It could barely fit one cart to pass. The end of this path is the edge of the Guanzhong Plain. By the way, Guanzhong Plain in Chinese literally means the inner pass plain. When State Qin recaptured the land west of the Yellow River from State Wei, it fortified this pass as the eastern border. In last week's video, I told you that for hundreds of years, State Qin was belittled by other states. But after 6 generations of hard work in more than 100 years, State Qin became the most powerful state in Warring State period.
As State Qin grew more and more powerful, there was a State Qin threat sentiment among the rest of 6 states. A strategist/lobbyist saw an opportunity in this. He successfully persuaded the rest of 6 states in forming an alliance. The alliance stated that if any state were attacked by State Qin, the rest of 5 together would revenge, sort of like NATO. The lobbyist represented the 6 states and sent a statement to the king of State Qin. Seeing the statement, the king was intimidated. For 15 years, the army of State Qin never came out of Hangu Pass.
In history, this alliance was called the Vertical Alliance. There were 2 major battles fought in Hangu Pass between the alliance and the State Qin. State Qin won the first one. During the second battle, the alliance successfully broke into the Hangu Pass, but they didn't go further. Instead, they accepted the land for peace offer. For State Qin, the biggest problem was how to break the deadlock. Another strategist called Zhang Yi appeared. He broke the alliance. It's a long story, and I'll tell you how he damaged the relationship between the 2 most powerful states in the alliance, State Chu and State Qi. Zhang Yi went to State Chu and offered the king a large piece of land only if the king would stop cooperating with State Qi. Drooling over the land, the king sent messengers to scold State Qi. But after Zhang Yi went back home, he didn't deliver the land. In great anger, the king of State Chu started a war against the State Qin and won the war. State Qin offered to seize land, but the king didn't want anything other than Zhang Yi himself. Zhang Yi went back to State Chu in composure. He was detained, but successfully left State Chu in the end. How did he make it?
He told the favorite woman of the king that State Qin would send their most beautiful woman to the king in exchange for him. Feeling threatened and worried that the king would lose interest in her, the woman persuaded the king to release the lobbyist.
In Warring State period, there were many strategists like these 2 working for different states. The best ones are the ones who understood well the weakness of human nature: greedy, jealousy, vanity, fear, and so on. They took advantage of these weaknesses and worked things their way. In the end, the alliance broke up. State Qin conquered the 6 states one by one and unified China. 2 major reasons contributed to the breakup of the alliance. First, the 6 states had different degrees of interest. The ones who were far away from State Qin were less threatened and less interested in the alliance. Secondly, the 6 states historically had disputes. There were many battles among the 6 states during the entire Warring State period. the aliens countries couldn't act as one as they were supposed to. Think about it. These two reasons could explain most breakup of the aliens. Histories always repeat. In the ensuing dynasties, the landscape near the Hangu Pass changed and made the pass obsolete. On one side, the decrease of water in Yellow River made the riverbank exposed. The troops could bypass the Hangu Pass by walking along the bank of the Yellow River. On the other hand, due to deforestation, the troops could also climb over the plateau to get into the Guanzhong Plain. Hangu Pass was abandoned. Instead, Tong Pass here became the new pass to guard the Guanzhong Plain in the Tang Dynasty in the 7th century. In next week's video, I'll take you to a great museum in China, the Shanxi Museum. If you plan to visit Xi'an, you shouldn't skip this museum. The best way to understand the Guanzhong Plain, the plain that Hangu Pass was guarding for hundreds of years, and where the ancient capital of China, Xi'an, is located, is through the relics found in this land. I'm Yan Yan. I upload a video every Saturday about sites of interest in China and histories and stories behind them. Subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next week in Shanxi Museum.